It's a Saturday afternoon. You're sitting across from the finance manager at the dealership. The paperwork is spread out in front of you. You've been here for 3 hours. You're tired. You're ready to be done. And then he slides the screen towards you. $487 a month. You look at it. You know that's too high. You've done your research. You push back. There's a pause. Some typing. A phone call to the manager. And then the number changes. $441 a month. You feel it. That specific satisfaction. The quiet confidence of someone who didn't just accept the first offer. You got it lower. You negotiated. You won. That's not what happened. You didn't win that negotiation. You were shown the wrong number, and your brain, doing exactly what it was designed to do, ran the wrong comparison, reached the wrong conclusion, and called it a victory. And you are not alone. This happens to millions of people every single year, not because they're careless, not because they're bad with money, but because the entire car financing industry was built around a specific flaw in the way the human brain processes numbers. That flaw has a name. And once I show it to you, you will never sit across from a finance manager the same way again. Today I'm going to show you exactly what your brain does when it sees a monthly payment, why it physically cannot calculate what that number actually means, and what that single cognitive blind spot is costing you over a lifetime of car purchases. The number is going to stop you cold. Let's start with something that sounds simple. What is the difference between a $400 monthly payment and a $450 monthly payment? Your brain says $50, and your brain is wrong. On a 72-month loan, which is now the most common loan term in the United States, the difference between $400 a month and $450 a month is not $50. It's $3,600. Same car, same dealer, same everything. Just a $50 monthly difference that your brain registered as trivially small and which translated to $3,600 out of your pocket by the time the loan ended. But here's where it compounds. The average American finances a new vehicle every 4 years. Over a 40-year working life, that's roughly 10 car purchases. If your brain consistently misreads a $50 monthly difference as small across 10 purchases, the real cost of that misreading is $36,000. Now invest that money. 30 years. At 7%, that becomes $274,000. $274,000. That assumes you invest the difference consistently, and most people won't. But even half that number is over $137,000 lost to $50 a month. Not lost on bad investments, not lost on emergencies, lost to a number that felt like nothing. Let that sit for a second. Now here's the question nobody asks. Why does your brain do this? Why can a fully intelligent, financially aware adult sit down at a dealership, walk away having dramatically overpaid, and feel good about it? The answer is two mechanisms working together. The first is called anchoring bias. Your brain does not evaluate numbers in isolation. It evaluates numbers relative to the first number it sees. Whatever figure appears first becomes the anchor, the reference point against which everything else is measured. At the dealership, that anchor is always set by the dealer, never by you. When the finance manager shows you $487 a month, that number becomes the anchor. Everything that follows is measured against it. $441 feels like a win because it is lower than $487. Your brain is comparing 441 to 487, not 441 to the total cost of the vehicle, not 441 to what you could have paid in cash, not 441 to what that money would become if invested. Just one comparison, 441 versus 487, a $46 difference, which feels like a victory. The anchor was set before you said a single word, and once it is set, your brain struggles to shake it. The second mechanism is called payment decoupling. This is the one the industry really does not want you to understand. Payment decoupling is your brain's inability to reconstruct a total cost from a monthly payment in real time. When you see $441 a month, your brain does not automatically multiply it by 72. It does not calculate interest. It does not add the down payment. It does not compare that figure to the actual market value of the vehicle. It just sees $441, a monthly number. Feels fine. This is not a character flaw. This is how the human brain evolved. We did not spend 200,000 years developing the ability to mentally compound monthly installments over 6-year loan periods. That's not a survival skill. So the brain simplifies. It shortcuts. It compares the number in front of it to the number it saw before. And the dealer knows this. In fact, there's a name for what happens inside that finance office. It's called payment selling. And it's a documented, trained, deliberate sales technique used at dealerships across the country. The goal is simple: move the conversation from total price to monthly payment as fast as possible. Because the moment the customer starts thinking in monthly payments, they lose the ability to evaluate what they're actually spending. When you walked in thinking about a $28,000 car, you were thinking in total cost. You had a frame. You had a reference. You knew what $28,000 meant. The moment the conversation shifted to $441 a month, that frame disappeared. You were now in a different negotiation entirely, one where your brain had no reliable way to evaluate whether you were winning or losing. And the dealer knew exactly when that shift happened, because he made it happen. And here's what makes payment decoupling particularly effective. It works best on people who think they're immune to it. The buyer who does no research isn't the ideal target. The ideal target is the buyer who spends 2 weeks preparing, walks in confidently, negotiates the monthly payment down by $46, and drives home believing they won. That buyer's confidence becomes the weapon used against them. I want to tell you about someone. Let's call him James. James is 36, operations manager at a distribution company, makes good money, considers himself a careful buyer, does his research before every major purchase. When he bought his last car, he spent 2 weeks reading forums, comparing trims, calculating depreciation. He walked into the dealership knowing exactly what he wanted to pay. The sticker was $31,500. James had decided his ceiling was $28,000 out the door. After 3 hours of back and forth, James drove away at $441 a month on a 72-month loan with $2,000 down. He felt like he had won. He'd gotten them down from $487. He'd held his ground. He'd done what the forums told him to do. 6 months later, James was doing his taxes and actually ran the numbers for the first time. 441 multiplied by 72 equals $31,752 plus the $2,000 down payment. James had paid $33,752 for a car he walked in believing. He had negotiated to $28,000. The dealer had moved $5,752 into the monthly payment structure, where James's brain could not see it. He spent 2 weeks preparing, read every forum, did everything right, and still lost nearly $6,000 to a number he never saw. So what actually works? 3 things, and none of them require you to be better at math than the finance manager. The first is the total cost frame. Before discussing any monthly payment, calculate the total cost yourself. Monthly payment times loan term plus down payment plus fees. Write it down. That number is the only number that matters. The second is the anchor reset. When the finance manager shows you the first monthly number, don't negotiate from it. Restate your total cost ceiling instead. I'm looking to spend this amount total. What monthly payment does that produce? You've just reset the anchor. Now you control the frame. The dealer cannot anchor you if you refuse to be anchored. And the third is the 24-hour rule. Never finalize a financing structure on the same day you choose a car. The emotional high of selecting the vehicle is exactly the state the finance office is designed to capitalize on. That's when payment decoupling is strongest. That's when $441 feels perfectly reasonable. Go home. Run the numbers. Sleep on it. Come back tomorrow. Let your long-term thinking do the signing, not the part of your brain that just test drove a car it loved. James used all three on his next purchase. He walked in with a total cost ceiling written on his phone. He refused to negotiate from the dealer's opening monthly number. He went home after choosing the car and finalized the financing the next morning. He paid $1,400 less than his ceiling, and for the first time in his adult life, he knew exactly what he was spending before he signed anything. I want to come back to that Saturday afternoon. Same dealership, same finance manager, same screen sliding across the table. But this time, you see the number differently. Not $441 a month, $31,752, plus $2,000 down, $33,752 total. The monthly payment is still there, but it isn't the number you're looking at anymore, because now you know what it means. You know what it's designed to do. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. You're the one who set the anchor. That shift from the person who negotiates the monthly payment to the person who negotiates the total cost isn't a small one. And that person, the one who sees the total before the monthly, who resets the anchor before the dealer sets it, who sleeps on financing before emotion signs the paperwork, that person compounds too.